Hey, what's up, guys? So, just want to do a quick off-season video, off-season review of the Timberwolves. I believe we are like a week away from training camp, so safe to assume that free agency is probably over. Um, but let's take a look. With Taj Gibson gone, with Dario Saric gone, and from what we've been hearing is Robert Covington is probably gonna play power forward, which is a great move, I believe. I mean, nowadays in this league, you have to play a lot faster. It's much more of a perimeter-oriented game. You got a guard on the perimeter, and playing Covington out there is a great move. The guy is 6'9", 7'2" wingspan. He can protect the rim as well and switch. From what we've been hearing, the Wolves are going to be uh, switching defense, and that's what we've been seeing in summer league too. And honestly, like these Wolves teams with all the wings that they got on the roster, they can switch 1 to 5. Um, I think Josh Okogie, what we've seen from Josh, how he defends point guards, him being 6'4" with a 7 foot wingspan, he was just a shutdown guy. Some The way he played against some of these point guards out there was really impressive, and honestly, I don't see how they don't start him. I think looking at the point guard position, it's just Jeff Teague and Napier. Um, the Wolves really been talking a lot about identity, and you cannot form an identity with only 2 point guards. How much Jeff Teague struggled with injuries, and now coming off a surgery on his ankle or foot, whatever it was. He didn't have a full off season to train. I think the right thing to do is playing Jeff Teague off the bench. That way you have better depth with Jeff Teague and Napier rotating off the bench. You are less susceptible to injury with Jeff Teague playing 15, 20 minutes and not 30 minutes. So Jeff playing off the bench, and you start Josh Okogie at point guard, and yeah, he's not as offensively gifted as Jeff Teague, but you got Wiggins who initiated a lot of offense at the end of the year last year, and I think Ryan Saunders actually was pretty happy with how he initiated the offense. So I mean his numbers are pretty great the last 10 games. 40% 3 point shooter. I think his field goal percentage went up. So yeah, and I think with this new system they got with Covington and Cat at the front court, both guys are excellent on the perimeter. And with Wiggins, how good he looked running the pick and roll. I mean, the guy is a big time athlete. He can definitely dribble in the open floor. With Cat and Covington on the perimeter, there is no rim protection in the paint. And with Cat setting screens for him, he's going to be able to slash into the paint. And without any defense, rim protection, he's too big to not score at the rim. He's got all these Euro steps, the spin moves, and he's just too fast to not be able to beat guys off the dribble, getting to the rim. So I think with Wiggins running as their point guard, it's gonna be an amazing season for him. Uh, he's gonna be a it's gonna be a breakout year for him, and I think with Culver, uh, honestly, I think he might be even better than RJ Barrett. The way he finishes at the rim, I think he has a little bit more pop, more athleticism than Barrett finishing around the rim. Obviously, he's just a rookie. He's still gonna have to really improve, but a guy can really, I think, start with Wiggins and Okogie. He can be like a second really ball handler. He has no problem dribbling out there for a wing, and he's got some great vision. He can really find the roll man. He showed excellent vision on his drives, kicking it out to open 3-point shooters in college. So I think he before long, I think he's gonna be the starter as well. And this team is just gonna be great defensively. I think they're all really big. Wiggins 6'8", Okogie is really a wing with his 7 foot wingspan at 6'4", and just looking around the West, with who they have to compete with, in Golden State, Curry, D'Angelo Russell, both great 3-point shooters. You gotta stop them first. So you throw in Okogie and Wiggins and Culver defending those two guys, and even Covington can maybe be assigned to defend one of those guys. And these teams like Golden State with Curry and D'Lo, you slow down those two and you could win the game. They don't really have anyone else that contributes offensively. And the same thing with the rest of the Western Conference. You got Portland, Lillard, and McCollum, and no one really else. So Houston, same thing, Russell and Harden. Denver, you got Harris and Murray, and of course Jokic, but Harris and Murray is really the biggest keys to stop. And in Utah, Mitchell and Conley. So I think the Wolves are really set up well defensively, and then with with a bench, Jeff Teague is gonna should be great running against backup point guards. So and he can really distribute well, and we got Keita Bates-Diop who can play power forward. You got Jake Layman, newcomer, who's gonna be the small forward. And at center, Gorgie Jang, he's a good backup center. And then all the depth that they have coming with Vonleh and Jordan Bell. I mean, those guys can be like small ball centers, power forwards, and bigger lineups. So Ryan Saunders really has a lot to work with, how he runs his lineups. It's going to be interesting to see because, I mean, most teams only run 9 guys in a rotation, but this team is so deep. He can go 12 deep. And then we'll see what they have in Jalen Noel, combo guard. I don't know. He could be maybe a replacement for Jeff Teague if he learns how to run the point as in the backup unit. He's seems like he could be a really switchy defender. He's 6'4", so we'll see there. And then Naz Reid, I mean, they signed him to a 4-year deal. Initially, he was a two-way player. They really liked what they saw in summer league. Guy scored 20 points against Jared Allen, who is a starting center. So that's really impressive, and he just looks like probably the most skilled center behind Cat. So I wouldn't be surprised if before long he was the backup center that takes Gorgie's job. Especially, I mean, Gorgie has been on a trade block forever. They want to get rid of his contract. He makes a lot of money, so getting rid of him would be great. But if Naz Reid, can step up his game, especially defensively, we'll see. But they have time to develop him. Offensively, he's got deep range on his threes, nice looking shot, even from the top of the key. He can really space the floor. He can score inside. He's got a nice handle for a center. So I mean, he can really play a lot like Cat can. So he would be a perfect backup center for the Wolves, and they got him for 4 years on basically a minimum deal, which is awesome. I really hope good things for Naz Reid. Um, but yeah, I mean this season it's really gonna be a huge year for Wiggins. I mean, there's gonna be no more excuses. He's gonna get the ball in his hands. He, you know, obviously the last 2 years him playing off ball, he wasn't too happy about that. But now he's gonna get all the chances in the world with the ball in his hands. He's gonna get his mojo back. They're gonna run the pick and roll with him nonstop. It's really gonna be their bread and butter, and I think it's Cat and Wiggins running the pick and roll should be a big time force. You got Wiggins penetrating is a huge threat, and Cat can pop for three or roll to the basket. I mean, this kind of versatility that Cat brings is very unique. 40% three-point shooter who can also roll. Um, yeah, I think this team is really gonna surprise some people. And right now they're predicted to finish 12 and with 35 or 36 by Vegas, but they can easily make it to the playoffs as well and be a top four team in the West with how they're built and how the Ryan Saunders could, mix and match these lineups. They got all the depth and all the talent. So we'll see. I mean, hopefully Covington is healthy all year. Hopefully no injuries to Wiggins or Cat as well, or anyone else. And if they stay healthy, they're young. If they manage the minutes right, which they should with all the depth on this team, they could stay healthy and just really surprise the NBA. And honestly, with this talent, they could easily reach 50 wins. With how I think they'll play in the pick and roll now, with how they can space the floor, teams are gonna hate playing this team. I mean, defensively, they can switch with all those wings and Cat. They're gonna be a nightmare transition team with everybody basically being a lob target in transition with Okogie, with Covington is gonna be a threat shooting threes in transition. Cat is gonna be a trailing three option. With Jared Culver. I mean, everybody can start the fast break. Cat, he's a really good transition dribbler as well. And I'm guessing he's going to get a lot of isolation opportunities against most centers, one-on-one off the perimeter. He showed that he is athletic enough to beat those guys off the dribble. So we'll see. But I think my prediction is that they're going to finish fourth with close to 48 to 50 wins if everyone stays healthy. So we'll see. Go Wolves.